Welcome to the It Girl Podcast, where we discuss living life like the It Girl. Our host, Erica Passy, brings on different guests to talk about their perspectives on all things It Girl lifestyle. She covers topics such as wellness, fashion, travel, and current It Girl trends. And now your host, Erica.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the It Girl Podcast. This is where we talk about all things It Girl related, anywhere from fashion to travel to social media trends. We've got it all. And this is a recording of the CLU podcasting class, so thank you to this class for giving us this opportunity. And today I actually have one of my classmates back on the podcast, Olivia Zoni.
Hello, happy to be here again.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And so, just to start, what are some of your favorite It Girl travel trends?
Okay, I was thinking about this, and I think my favorite trend is kind of just the fact that it's becoming more common, that solo traveling, especially for girls, is becoming something that, like, we feel like as, I don't know, average ladies that we can do, and it's a lot more attainable. So I think that's going to be my answer.
I love that. Yeah, there are so many more solo female travelers now on like social media who are totally like promoting it and like even giving like tips for like, oh, this is like a level 1 like safe country, and then this is level 2 intermediate level country, and then level 3 like for like where you want to start with your solo travel, but then where you can also get to once you've done a few countries.
Absolutely. And I like that it's such like a welcoming environment. I don't feel like it's anything that people are trying to keep to themselves. They're very like, hey, I learned this. This is what I'm doing. Here's all of my information. You be safe and go do it too, which is kind of rare for some things.
And I love how on social media, travel has not become one of those things yet. Like, at least it hasn't entirely become one of those things yet where like these influencers are making like their little like cheat sheets and like their little like books on how to do this, but you have to pay for it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Like on social media, they're just like, here's how you do it. They give all the information for free. Because there's like certain parts of social media where it's like, okay, so some like there's some creators that are like, oh, like this is how you can build a following on social media, but you have to pay $5 first to get my little pamphlet on how to do it. That kind of thing. Like there's like stuff like that goes on, and like, ew, I hate it. But yeah, so like I love how at least the travel community is like super supportive, and like they're willing to just like help each other. Like it's just so supportive and nice. And so today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about travel hacking. And so last time with Olivia, we just talked all things like travel related. And so today we're specifically talking about travel hacking, as I have been learning so much about travel hacking this past year because I've been getting prepared for my Euro summer trip, my little solo trip. And so it's always good to try to find things to make travel cheaper and more attainable. So to start, we're going to talk about credit card points. I got the Chase Sapphire Preferred card earlier this year. I got it like back in fall, and I got it partially because I knew I had a few like large expenses coming up, and the way that the Chase Sapphire Preferred card works is that you have to spend like a certain amount of money. I think it was like $4,000 or something. You have to spend $4,000 within 3 months, but then you get a 60,000 point sign-on bonus.
Oh.
And so those points, I only used about, I think, 40,000 of them, somewhere around there, and I got a free flight to Europe.
You're kidding.
So I knew that. So my car had like a few just like big $1,000 expenses coming up. So I knew I was going to have to spend that money anyways. So I did that. I got the sign-on bonus, and then I was able to get this free flight that was essentially worth like $600-700. And I still have half the points left over, so I'll be able to get my return flight with that. So even though I spent like $4,000, I was anyways going to spend it, I'm getting like $1,000 worth, a little bit more back.
That's awesome. My sister, I think I mentioned last time, she's a flight attendant.
Yeah.
So I texted her before this episode and was kind of like, do you have any travel hacks? And she was saying the same thing. The first thing she said was credit card points. But she said for the American Airlines credit card and the United Airlines credit card.
Yeah.
So I guess you have different options.
Okay, so there's like thousands of credit cards that you can choose from, especially because each company also has like a few different ones you can choose from.
Okay.
And so for starter, like basic credit cards, I've been told that like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, that's the way to go, and that's why I did it. But there's of course like other ones that get you like way more like luxury options. Like you can go into like the little suites at the airlines, like the lounges that partner with like certain airlines and that kind of stuff. So certain credit cards get you like that kind of stuff. And then other credit cards that are like partnered with the airline, those are good because then you become loyal to an airline, and with that you can oftentimes get like bumped up into like business class. Or you get to go into their lounge and stuff like that. And so I've heard about like all those different things that you can do. And so I've heard part of travel hacking is also staying loyal to one airline, if you're able to, because then you can get free upgrades oftentimes.
Yes, I've heard the same thing. I know my dad also works in travel.
Okay,
and he has the same airlines that he kind of goes through, and he seems to always be getting bumped up. So
that's the way to go. So one of my other travel hacks is also talking about, so there's two different ways to do this. Either you can work for like different families or businesses when you go abroad. And one of the traditional way to do this is to be an au pair. Essentially, you go and you nanny abroad, and the family lets you just, stay at their house, and they might feed you, or they might even give you a little bit of money depending on the family you get. And I know that my mom did this, and so did my aunt. But now the more recent trend is to go through World Packers. And so if you guys haven't heard about it, it's basically this website where you can, either as a family or as like a person who's willing to be a host, you can either like create like a little job for someone to travel to your house, and they can stay with you, you feed them, and then they do like a little bit of work in exchange. Or you can be the one who wants to do the work exchange. And so as a traveler, I have looked into some of these things. So you can like go to Hawaii and like work on a family farm, or you can go to Europe, like to France, and work in the lavender fields, or you can babysit, or even you can just like teach English to like little kids if you want. They're like all over the world.
And that's all through World Packers. For some reason I thought World Packers was only for working like in hostels and like those specific businesses.
You can also do hostels, yes.
But you can also become an au pair and work in like...
Yeah, technically I guess you can call it an au pair. I think au pairing is more like professional.
Okay.
Whereas like this is, you just message the family and you can be like, yeah, like I'll babysit your kid for like 2 weeks.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like au pairing is way more professional in the sense that like you also do it more so for like long term, like 6 months or something like that. Whereas World Packers, it depends. Like you can do it for up to like 6 months or however long you want to do it. Or there's some stays that will like let you just work for a week.
Got it. Okay, no, that makes sense. Like
I've seen like a few hostel options, so you can go to the hostel, and sometimes they just need like help around the hostel cleaning up, or sometimes they need like a party promoter, because sometimes they're party hostels, and so they need someone to just like, get the party started, and like someone to just be energized and have fun. And sometimes those options are just like a week long.
Working in a hostel seems like such a good gig.
Yes.
I haven't done it, but I have stayed in a few hostels. I can't speak for everyone, but I would always talk to the people that were working there, and they seemed like they were having a great time. This one girl I met in the bathroom while I was getting ready one morning.
We love that.
And I asked her, I was like, how does this work for you? And she was like, honestly, I just reach out to the hostel ahead of time, or just when I'm here, and see if they have an open position, and normally they do. And the one she was staying at, she only had to work, I think, 9 hours total to get the week free.
Yeah.
So she was like, that's 2 shifts. I do 1 morning shift, 1 night shift. It's 1 day of work. And then I spend the rest of the week traveling. And she was like, I've been here for a month and I love it.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, because oftentimes also on World Packers, it'll like mention like how many hours you have to work.
Okay.
And so sometimes it'll be like anywhere from like 5 hours to 20 hours. You know, I've never seen more than like 20. And I
No.
think 20 is normally like when you're working on a farm or something.
Yeah, and I think they know that you're wanting to be there to travel, and
Yes,
that's normally
yeah.
like the mindset.
They're definitely willing to work with you. But another part of travel hacking actually is using hostels. Because hostels are so cheap. I feel like people always think that they have to stay in hotels to be able to travel, but one way to make it super affordable and accessible for everyone is to just use hostels. I've stayed in a hostel in Paris before, and it was like the cutest little, like it's essentially like a hotel, but it's just like not as nice normally, but it's still like super cute, and I loved it. There was like free breakfast, free croissants, and like free like little lattes and stuff like that, and hot chocolate. It was so cute. I loved it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're definitely paying less for the fact that you're sharing a lot of resources.
Yeah.
You can have an option to pay extra for like your own room.
Yes.
But normally you're going to be with like multiple people sharing a bathroom. So as long as you feel safe, I don't know, I say go for it. I really liked it.
Yeah, and I'm so excited because this past weekend I actually booked my first hostel for my Europe trip.
Yay!
And it's in Madrid, and I'm so excited. It's like the perfect little hostel. So they have their own sauna, they have their own hot tub, and then they have a rooftop bar that looks over Madrid.
So cool.
And it's a 10-minute walk from everything that I want to do. Like I'm going to Plaza Mayor, and like they have like a palace there. They have like a few museums, and then they have this really cool food market that I'm going to go to, like a street market. And it's all just like a 10-minute walking distance.
So cool.
Yeah.
Have you like planned out, are you staying with other people there or in like an all girls room?
Yes. So I decided that my best option for me, because something that you can do when you're booking a hostel, oftentimes, so they have mixed dorms and then they have all girl dorms, or you can buy single rooms. So I decided for me the best option would be to do the all girl dorms, just for me to feel safe. But you get the option oftentimes to either choose a dorm with 8 people in it, 6 people in it, or 4 people in it. And I paid like the $2 extra to have only 4 people in it. That way, like if I need to get my sleep, it's probably easier than like being in a room with 8 other girls.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. I also just bought my Eurail pass, which is the cheapest way to travel around Europe, essentially. You pay like a couple $100, and depending on your ticket. I actually got the most expensive ticket, but that's because it lets me travel for 2 months, and it's 15 different travel days. Wow. So that's like, I think, one of the most amounts that you can be traveling. And I needed that anyways. So, but yeah, there's definitely like other cheaper options depending on how much you're going to be traveling.
Are you planning to travel on any like overnight trains?
I might be, yes.
I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, so I found out that apparently, I think if you start your travel day on, let's say, like the 15th, but you get to your destination on the 16th, it only counts as the travel day on the 15th. So I'm not like going to be using 2 travel days with that. So I might I might take advantage of the night trains because of that. Yeah,
absolutely. That's really cool.
Yeah. So then one of the other travel hacks that I absolutely love is using Google Flights or some of these other like flight websites. So there's one called Pomelo Travel. And so essentially with Google Flights, the way it works is that you can put in your start destination, your end destination, and then you can either put in dates for whenever you want to go, or you can make it random dates throughout the year. And it will just send you, or it'll give you options for the cheapest flights possible, like on the market. And you can even set it to email you so like for the specific destination that you want to go to, it'll email you when it finds like a low, cheap flight.
Wow.
But then the thing with Pomelo Travel is that they will send you weekly emails of like random places that are just having like really cheap round trip flights. So like I'll get like emails about like flights to Hawaii from LA for like $130 round trip. And then like I get some that go to like Fiji or like Europe or New York, anywhere. Like it'll just send random ones, and they are like super, super cheap. like crazy prices. And all I did was they do have a free version, but you can also get the premium version, which just means that they send you the email before the regular subscribers.
Got it.
And they also they I think customize it a little bit more to you, and that's $30 a year.
I have to sign up for those. I've been using Kayak, and I do you use Kayak ever?
I have heard of it, and I think I've looked at it, but I never really got into it.
So Kayak sounds similar to Google, except it doesn't notify you. So Kayak, it compares all other travel websites as well, like Expedia or like Booking.com, Travelocity, and just gives you the best rates from the options given. But it sounds like Google does the same thing. It also tells you.
Yep. And Google is completely free. It just emails you quite often, but you can always toggle the settings. Mm-hmm. So
do you know about only searching in incognito or private?
I do. Okay. And you're supposed to also you can also use a VPN, so that then they don't know if you're going back to the same site and then changing the prices on you. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was just something else I was going to add.
So do you have any experiences of travel hacking?
I a little bit. I definitely when I book flights, I try to do it on Tuesdays. Most of the things I hear are word of mouth. So I want to put that out there that it's not really I Googled this stuff and have facts, but I know Tuesdays are supposed to be cheapest 6 weeks in advance. Also, like I just said, incognito mode, I never look not in that, or else I notice the prices go up really fast. That one I can say for my own self. Also, I know when I get to a country, you're not supposed to exchange your money in the airport because it's more expensive. So it's good to go to a bank because the rates are lower. Yeah. So that one. And then I think everything else we basically covered. I also normally will have a currency app on my phone, and that's really helpful for transferring money and making sure that you're not getting in trouble with how much you're spending. And then WhatsApp.
Yes.
Yeah, I got WhatsApp a few years ago because I have family in Italy, and that's really good for Wi-Fi messaging and everything. And I used it a lot when I was in Australia. So I guess those are in a nutshell my little tips.
So when you were in Australia, what did you do about your phone plan? Did you just not use it?
Oh, no. So because my family has worked and traveled for so long, we have T-Mobile and their international phone plan. So I just stayed on it, and that meant unlimited texting, but calls still cost money. So I wouldn't call unless I was on Wi-Fi or if I FaceTime. But it was 25 cents a minute. So if you needed to, I would call, or I would just use WhatsApp because I could use that anywhere.
Yeah. So you were able to use your Google Maps anywhere and...
Yeah, no, interestingly, I kind of had trouble connecting my phone, but my friend who I traveled with had the same exact phone plan as me, and she had no problem. She could Google things at any time. I think it was just a me problem.
Yeah, because so I'm a little bit stressed about that aspect of it because I'm on AT&T, and it's $10 a day to have international.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe look into the T-Mobile plan. My family's used it for years, and she really liked it while she was abroad.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to look into all that kind of stuff. I've also heard that you can just buy I think an SD card or something, but it's I'm going to be in a new country every week. Yeah. So it's I would have to purchase a new one, I think, for every country that I go to.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it works that way.
I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I know when we went to Australia, everyone else got new SD cards, but they were planning to be there for 6 months plus.
Oh,
so
okay,
I don't know how it is for countries that are really close to each other.
Yeah. I'm just gonna have to do more research.
Yeah.
But yeah. So would you enjoy seeing this kind of content on social media?
Absolutely. I mean, I learned so much just sitting here talking to you today. I would totally listen to other people's thoughts.
Yeah, I love going on TikTok and seeing all the informational videos about travel hacking, but even just videos about travel in general. I love all of it.
It makes me excited.
Yeah. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap up today. Do you have any last thoughts or any questions?
I don't think so. I think I've said what I want to say today.
Okay, perfect. And I know I asked you this last time, but what are some topics you'd like to hear more from me in the future?
Honestly, I think I'm just excited to hear what you I don't want to say, sorry, follow through with was not the right word, but I want to like hear updates on your traveling experiences.
Okay,
That makes me
yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be posting a lot about it on TikTok. And so essentially, you can find all of my podcast episodes on my YouTube channel, It Girl Podcast, but you can also go to my Instagram or my TikTok to see content about my podcast because I promote it all there. But you can also go to the link in my Instagram bio to be able to find the audios for my podcast. You essentially go to my blog website and then you go to the tab number 3, which is It Girl Podcast, and that'll take you to my Mixcloud. My handles are always ERIIKA.3. And yeah, for future episodes, I'll be talking more about confidence building, more about fashion and social media trends. We've got it all here. But thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the It Girl Podcast, a production of the CLU podcasting class. We appreciate all of your support and would love it if you would reach out to Erica on all social media platforms. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok at ERIIKA.3. Reach out and let her know what you would like to hear about next, or send in ideas for current trends you would like her to discuss. Thanks again. Look forward to talking to y'all next time.